The long national nightmare is over. Seattle sports gentlemen are back.
Ay, 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 ay.
And Kirby, I want to start with a Mariners joke that I came up with. I'm
Oh, no.
workshopping it right
Okay.
now. Okay, it's and I apologize in advance to all of the fine Italian Americans here in this country. But here goes. Dominic Canzone. He got an offer he can't refuse. It's it's a high fastball. Thank you.
It's good. It's good. I like it because you start the first part. You're dying a little bit
Uh-huh.
as a listener,
Uh-huh.
but then you really deliver with that with you can't refuse the high fastball. I
Thank
mean,
you.
it's good. Meanwhile, like Julio seems to have remembered how to CTZ.
Yeah, yeah, he's doing great. I really like the team. The I mean the pitching I think's the headline. What are your team thoughts overall, Kirby? How many games you been to? What do you like so far? Let's start with the good stuff.
The good stuff. So I want to say I've been to 5 or 6, maybe 7 games. Um, it is fun going to the ballpark, knowing you're going to see, knowing you're the biggest difference with this pitching is you go to the ballpark and you know you're in the game. Every single game you watch, whether it's on TV or at the park, you're excited as a Mariners fan because you go in thinking, okay, well, gosh, if we score like 4 runs, 5 runs, we're going to win a game.
Yeah,
And
totally.
and that's just a very cool feeling. I mean, and also to have that feeling no matter who is starting, that's awesome. So just as a consumer of the product that is the Mariners, it's pretty fun.
The stats back that up too. Mariners are number one in quality starts. So a quality start, I had to look this part up, but a quality start is 6 innings or more, 3 earned runs or less. And so it's exactly what you described. And what's cool about the staff, because I've gone to 5 or 6 games too, and I think I've seen our number five starter 2 or 3 times, Woo, and and it's like Woo's solid. I've we've had a win every game I've been to so far this year. And it's weird about the staff because we've got a pretty dominant staff, but it's a little bit different than I kind of remember. Like when you've got Felix on the hill with Felix or maybe some elite pitcher. Every night you go to the ballpark saying, "Oh, are they? Are we going to see like a no hitter?" And I'm not calling our staff boring. They're not boring, but I don't go to the staff thinking Kirby's gonna throw a perfect game, but it's just like solid. The guy people are grounding out. They get 7 strikeouts, 1 hit in 6 innings. It's just awesome to see.
Yeah, and you know, if you also feel like if you can get it to the eighth, you're in really good shape.
Hmm.
Um, I think the only beef I have with the pitching, and it's due to the Brash injury and the um, oh, wow, who's the guy that like tripped on the base
I don't know.
with the long reliever. Anyway,
Okay.
we've had some trouble in the sort of long relief role.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not in love with any of the guys that come in there. Um, but by and large, yeah, you feel like what's funny too is um, Castillo is like he's great, but he's not really any different than the rest of the staff at this point, which just
Right.
says the most about the staff. All these guys, they're probably gonna give up a couple home runs, like on any given day. That's just baseball these days,
Hmm. Yeah.
and and that's been Castillo the whole time, right? He's kind of even if he doesn't have his stuff, he's pretty lights out, but he'll have an inning.
Hmm.
Um, it just, I mean, then it begs the question of, well, we still stay positive. Um, Julio's come around. Rojas. So I remember the beginning of the year, I was making fun of all the sort of sports talk folks for saying, well, we've got this amazing platoon at third, and Rojas is really going to grab the opportunity. He's been
Hmm.
beaten down, he's good, but he's got the talent. And I'm like, that just sounds like a narrative, and he's grabbed the opportunity, and he's
Yeah.
pretty much the everyday third baseman now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, unless Demo's in there. Yeah, he's almost always.
I mean, so he's been a delight. Uh, Cal's given you what you'd expect, um, and Julio's coming around. I like Julio fighting off these singles for ribbies. Like he's just hit it, um, and, and that's kind of refreshing, and and so that's good. JP's been JP when he hasn't been hurt. Um, let's see, I'm running out of positives.
I want to shift gear to ask a question. Um, so I'm thinking like I've been to in the last month. I think I've been to two or three games where we've won by one run or two runs, and I don't mind the like different people close or whatever. That doesn't really bother me. But have you seen this year when the closer comes in or the ninth inning pitcher, I guess, comes in and they're playing the song and the whole stadium goes dark and I haven't seen that this year.
I haven't seen it this year either. I will
That's
admit,
one of my favorite parts. You don't like that?
I don't know. I'll tell you what. I'm a curmudgeon. Like
Okay.
I've turned into the guy who at any sporting event,
Hmm.
I'm like, why is there no downtime? Why can't it just
Mm,
be quiet?
mm,
Just for like a couple minutes.
mm,
But
mm,
like between every inning, between every period, between everything at every
mm,
game, they got to blast the freaking music at you. They got
mm, mm,
dancers and crap on the
mm,
screen and
mm.
like they're the sausage race or whatever. Hey, give me a fucking break. I want to sit there and talk to my friend. Like I just want to be able to hear myself think. And the Mariners have gotten just as bad as the rest of these guys with that stuff. So
Well,
I don't miss it, but I'll say
but
I'd have to be there in the ninth to see it, and I'm not
but
usually there in the ninth.
but they're leaving. That's what I want to see it the most. I want to see like the siren going and like flames shooting, and then like rock music, and then like JJ Putz coming out there.
Ah, yeah.
Like that's what I want for that. Um, okay, so the biggest news for the Mariners, besides I think it's 5 or 6 in a row, something like that, is they fired their offensive coordinator. I've got to be honest, I had never heard that term for baseball before. I didn't know that position existed. I guess the guy was also our bench coach. But what do you think an offensive coordinator does that a hitting coach does not do, and vice versa?
Well, first of all, I remember being very skeptical of all the press the new hitting coach was getting at the beginning of the season.
Right,
That was a
right,
red flag to me when we were talking about our hitting coach more than we were
right.
talking about the hitters. But I guess he's doing a good job, and it's the coordinator's fault. I don't know what the coordinator does. Do they set the lineup? I mean, isn't that the manager's job? Are they? Or maybe they're like doing the managing the analytics and preparing everyone's game plan against the pitching.
Yeah, maybe that's it. It is like you would think that the hitting coach or assistant hitting coach would kind of do that too and watch tape. I'm like, what is Service's job at this point? Um, I mean, God, my gosh, setting the lineup. I mean, I thought that was something that the computer spit out anyway. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think he's there for the press conference.
so, you know, speaking of the hitting coach, we talked about the offseason changes in one of our earlier episodes, and one of the reasons they said they got rid of Teo, got rid of Suarez, was that too many strikeouts.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
I think we got two guys in the top 10 for strikeouts. I think we might be number one or number two
We're
in
number one.
baseball. We're
We're
number one.
number one with a bullet.
Yeah, yeah. And so I guess I gotta say, like what is the hitting coach? Is that to prevent strikeouts or when you make contact to do better? What's the deal there? I think feel like I need more answers.
Is it? Well, there's like the philosophy and the strategy, right? Like we do or don't swing at first pitch, or we control the zone. We don't chase. We're looking for one. I don't even know. I don't. I feel like there's you have to have like a strategic. Well, we have a philosophy or a
Hmm, hmm,
control the zone, right,
hmm,
if that's the
hmm,
thing. And
hmm.
so then how would one execute that? And I suppose that's the job of the coaching staff, is to help the each player execute that based on, situation and pitcher and, you know, the hitter's own sort of weak spots. I mean, they get they have so many coaches. You had so many stats. You would assume that's what they're doing. I just assume that's what they're doing. I assume that they're they're hyper tuned on, like, look, against this guy when the weather's this way and it's the third inning and there's two guys on base. You're looking to, drive something. I don't know. They
Yeah.
always say, hitters always say that shit too. They're always like, I was looking for someone to drive. I'm like, that's a great idea. Why don't you always do that?
Right. Um, okay. So I texted you maybe a couple days ago, a picture of my son, and I said, you try to raise your kids right, and then they spend their money on this. And as it was a picture of a New Jersey my son got of Dylan Moore, and it made me think like you made some inflammatory comments. I'm not going to play them back for everybody here. Some inflammatory comments in the preseason about Dylan Moore. Are you willing to walk those back, or are you going to double down?
I was wrong about Dylan Moore, and I apologize to Dylan Moore and the Moore family, and your son, and anyone else who has a Dylan Moore jersey. I mean, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, he has.
He's even got pop in the bat, which was, I mean, really what I always, my gripe with him was, people are way too excited for a guy who's got warning track power,
Yeah.
and but he's shown that he can, that he can poke it out. He certainly, got a plus glove. He's fast. Unlike some other players who make a lot of money on this team, he seems to know what he's doing on the base paths,
Mm-hmm.
and he's hitting in clutch situations. I mean, look, his average is still 210 or something,
Yeah.
but I mean, in this day and age, I guess that's like 285, and so, I mean, yeah, you can't really find fault with what he's done. In the spot he's been in. I'll say this. Is he an everyday starter? I mean, I guess he's holding down second right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes they're putting him in the two hole, and they're putting him some pretty challenging batting spots. It's not like he's not hitting ninth anymore. So yeah, and he's his career. I was looking at his career average is 210. I think he's maybe 225, something like that. But his OPS is in the high sevens, 6 home runs. You're right. He's got speed. Seems nice. He's freaking jacked. I mean, my seats are kind of near the home plate, and he's, I don't know, he's putting in time in the weight room. That's why he doesn't have warning track power anymore. So yeah, all things good. I was with a buddy at the game on Wednesday. We were talking about, I think we were both at Dylan Moore's first game, which was an opening day game, I think against the Red Sox. He was playing third, and he had 3 errors. Do you remember this?
I
He had
don't remember that, and I
You
should.
might not have been at that game, but he had 3 errors. Mercifully, the Mariners won, because that would have been the worst major league debut ever. But he's come around. He's doing great. Just a couple more Mariners things, and then let's move to talk about the beautiful game. So there was a survey that came out. It's kind of making around Instagram if you follow any baseball stuff. But someone was guessing the results of a survey which says who are the least annoying fans in baseball, and the Mariners got number one for least annoying fans in baseball. And I've got to say, Kirby, I think our generation has let Seattle down. I mean, I think being the least annoying fans is not a badge of honor. That's I think that means we got some wood to chop.
I bought my tickets at Safeco Field when it opened, and I bought them. I could have, we went in. It was the .com days. I was feeling feeling my pockets getting fat for the first time in my life, and I said, I'm gonna buy some charter seats. And we really got down there. We could have gone, almost anywhere. Mariners side, third base line. I chose seats right above the third base dugout, specifically so that I could berate the other team. And I did. And I got into it with Johnny Damon and Kevin Youkilis and Paul O'Neill and any number of players, and it was a lot of fun. Always in good good humor and good spirits. Well, almost always.
Mostly, probably.
But that was a point of pride for me, because growing up in Seattle, I remember having the feeling that we were a weak fan base on the other teams. We didn't have a culture of really, really sort of giving it to the visiting opponents. We're too nice and too quiet, and we come in and get dominated by out of town fans, and I hated that. And so, but as it turns out, you can't do it on your own. And I did not feel. I've never felt like the Mariners fan base was really had much edge, and I've certainly mellowed over the years.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't sustainable.
All right, maybe we're surrendering like Ty France at the plate. That was my other Mariners joke.
The French.
That one didn't make it out of the workshop. I'm still workshopping it. So ballparks around the league where Safeco stacks up. I wanted to talk about this because once a year I see a Mariners road game with the family, and go to a new ballpark each year. This year we hit ballpark number 13 as a family, Nationals. And I was reminded just how amazing Safeco is. You talk about wanting it to be quiet at the game. Go to Washington Nationals ballpark Sunday afternoon. It's quiet the entire game. I couldn't believe how empty it was. It was like an April rainy Tuesday night against the A's in Seattle. That's how empty it was. And it's a nice park, but just in terms of Safeco's better in almost every way, and we've just got it really, really good here with our park, all of our parks. The Climate Pledge, we got it good here in Seattle.
Yeah, I used to take a trip. We had some friends who were involved with the Rockies organization, and so we used to go on a trip with them every year to different ballparks, and it was really fun. Sort of zipping around, getting the tour, and checking out these spots. And I remember we went to San Diego. That ballpark is beautiful.
That one's money.
Fun.
Yeah.
You don't know where the park ends and the town begins. Like, they've got this really cool space sort of outside of the outfield that's still within the confines, but you're walking. It's like a park. So San Diego's great. I think I love Baltimore. That was the first of the modern stadiums. I think they did an amazing job. It's revolutionary, really, what they did there. I still got an affinity for Wrigley.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Wrigley's a classic. I haven't been to Baltimore. Wrigley's awesome. St. Louis is awesome too. I think that's more maybe the fans than the ballpark. St. Louis is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think we do have a good. But I tell you what, because we went to Anaheim, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks. It's so crappy. We went to Oakland, which is unbelievably, even 15 years ago, was so bad you couldn't imagine how they managed to play baseball there.
Right.
Dodger Stadium sucks.
It's like a time cap. It kind of looks like the Jetsons sort of in there.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah. That's like saying LaGuardia, is quaint because it's been redone, but
LaGuardia's nice now. But yeah, I get it.
I'll tell you what though. Best ballpark food, hands down to me, Dodger Dog.
Mm.
Dodger Dog. It's a thin, charred, on the grill charred dog. You can eat as many of those as you want. They're just excellent. But the ballpark itself, man.
I say for dogs, I like it at the White Sox park. that was my team growing up, and they do the grilled onions. They just got the grilled onions just going on there, and that's a delicious dog.
You drag it through the garden.
Right. Maybe so. All right. One other thing. Oh, just one other thing about Nationals Park, which I found kind of funny, is they have like 25 retired numbers. I mean, it's crazy because they have all these teams that like left
Right.
a
Yeah.
hundred years
The
ago.
Senators and
Right.
the
Right.
the Rockettes and the friggin'
And then you're kind of like, I'm sure every once in a while. Well, no, that's not really true. With Seattle, we don't have like a long storied history of winning, but you see the people who are like retired and you're Griffey, and you're just like, okay, like some real solid people played here. And then the Nationals, they have like different logos for the different eras, and they're like a big retired guy in the modern era, Zimmerman. I don't even know his first name. I mean, I'm like, wow, that's tough.
yeah, that's rough. We
Uh-huh.
it's going to DC in general makes you feel better about Seattle, doesn't it?
All right. So we went abroad, Kirby, you and me, and a few other folks to celebrate a milestone birthday for you. That was the weekend of the year for sure. And so it's time to talk about the sporting event there. Why don't you tell the listeners the game that we went to and
Oh
its
yeah,
importance. Put it into context.
yeah. It was incredible. So I plan to bring some of my best friends in the world out to celebrate this upcoming birthday, which is this summer. But I'm going to take the whole year and celebrate it. So we went out to London. We had a full agenda planned. Lots of museums, the opera. We think we volunteered at a soup kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but besides
We
all of
saw
that,
Harry Potter too. Remember that,
oh,
or
Harry
was it?
Potter, yeah,
Or the sorry, no, Blue Man Group. My bad, Blue Man Group.
it's crazy. We packed it all in. Great weekend, but the capstone of the weekend was this soccer match, which I had to book, months and months in advance. And the tough thing about booking Premier League uh, football matches in advance is that they can change the day and time on you, um, really like weeks before the match is scheduled. So we had to make sure we were coming home on Monday to account for the fact that although the match was scheduled on a Saturday, they might move it. Sure enough, they did move it. They moved it to Sunday afternoon, and it was Tottenham hosting Arsenal, the North London Derby. And so this is one of the fiercest rivalries in the Prem uh, on any given year. But this year, with 2 weeks left in the Premiership, Arsenal was basically tied for top of the table with Man City, and Tottenham was in fifth, fighting to finish in the top four to be included in the Champions League of Europe next year. So, everything on the line for both teams. Um, we came in. It was a beautiful day for London this time of year. Technically like mid 60s, little drizzle, little sun, uh, and just a magical game day experience. Um, we were able to watch it from a high perch with a little bit of hospitality, which always helps. Um, all the all the free soda and water you can drink, um, and so the match starts, and we all had I think we'd all put a little bit of money on it, one direction or the other, to spice it up. Um, and boy, Arsenal came out and put it on Tottenham, and I mean it was ugly early. Halftime was very quiet, um, and it ended up being a game down the stretch, and Arsenal won 3-2. But the second half was some of the most exciting football you'll ever see. But I'll tell you, you can really see the quality and the difference between like MLS and what happens in the Prem. But it was a special day. I'm glad you made it, John. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, kicked ass. So cool. And I want to talk about for the American audience the pros and cons of the English sports experience. But I want to say like the quality of soccer is kind of nuts. I know I'm gonna get like all the lingo wrong, but the guy who's like the right wing, right forward on Arsenal, he's like Tyreek Hill. You know, you just like all of a sudden he's open with the ball in the box. Like it's like nuts. That dude was a great player.
Yeah, it's and I'm actually looking it up. I should know his name. Um, Saka.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah, he. I mean, that first half, right? All they needed was a counter, and he's just loose, and they were so dangerous on the counter and on the attack. I mean, you don't even need to win possession, and I don't know if they did win possession during that game. I think Tottenham
Tottenham
had
had the
the
ball
ball the entire game.
the entire game.
Yeah, but
Are they just throw like the equivalent of like an 80-yard bomb to this dude who catches it on his foot in stride, like running 100 miles an hour. Like it's totally nuts. He was a really good player, incredible to watch. So okay, I'm gonna give some pros and cons of my perspective. You jump in with any that you have. The first, and I will say like the best thing is opposing fans sit apart at a Premier League game. I've I love it. You cannot go into the stadium with the opposing fans jersey or colors at all. You can't, they will not let you in. You have to go sit in that section. And I like who in the NFL will pioneer this? Could Jody Allen please make this happen and put the 49ers fans in one frickin' section, guard them with they're guarded by I don't know if the guards are armed or not, but they're like guards every 3 rows to prevent people from leaving or getting out. I mean, it's amazing. It's great. It's a great experience.
yeah, I mean, I think you would have to have had. Um, Sadly, that exists because there was so much rampant violence in football in England in particular, but really in Europe all over. Actually, pretty much anywhere else in the world, I think they have the same rule because of the incredible violence that occurred historically at matches. Um, so it's an unfortunate circumstance, but I agree. It's great. I had to tell all of our friends who we came with, you cannot cheer for Arsenal today.
Right,
If you're
right.
an Arsenal
Yeah.
fan. I went out and bought a vintage Tottenham kit, which was so much fun. Like, you know, it's great to be with a bunch of other
Mhm.
fans.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like
it's
that
great.
feature.
It's great. The also what another thing I like is the cheers are delightfully unoriginal. Like like I went to one game a couple years ago, Fulham, and their cheer is "Come on, Fulham." Okay. So then Chris, my brother, he's a Tottenham fan. He lives in London, and I'm like, what's the Tottenham cheer? And he goes, "Come on, you Spurs." I'm like, okay. And then I'm looking others up. Manchester City, come on, City. Like those are like every cheer is the exact same.
Yep.
It's
Come on,
really funny.
Chelsea. Come on, Chelsea.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I find that kind of cute. The other that thing I'm not labeling this a pro or a con, but the C word acceptable, totally acceptable. Um rampantly so it's like simultaneously totally insulting and also like an acceptable thing anybody can say to each other. And it's very strange, very strange. I get it canceled. I probably they won't put this on YouTube if I say the C word, but over there, no biggie.
Yeah, it's a term of endearment.
Yeah, I guess. and then about I guess the con and this is more you have a very good soccer player in your household. You know soccer a lot, so you're probably going to be grossed out by this. But the only big downside I think is like half the key scoring opportunities come to like a ref's interpretation of a foul. That's how I take it, and I do not understand why they do not have a second referee in soccer. I just don't get it, because sometimes like if the defender is between the person with the ball and the ref can't see if there's a foul. And so like I don't know, I totally don't get it.
Yeah, I mean that's why they've instituted VAR. Uh, so there is video review
Mhm.
um, for some plays.
Not
Look,
fouls though.
there's it's probably something like the umpire calling balls and strikes in baseball.
Mm.
It's
Hmm.
a known issue, um, but it's like the flow of the game, you know, takes precedent,
Yeah.
and um, and you look, you've got the ARs on the sidelines who will call spot fouls because
Mm.
because particularly they're going to be closer to the action
Mm.
than the referee, than the head referee on the field. So
Mm.
the AR, so you really have you have three refs. Um, the fouls are a feature of soccer. They're impactful, but they're impactful for a reason. It's because they're supposed to be costly. You're supposed to not be able to foul because it's so dangerous.
Hmm.
Because people are going 100 miles an hour expecting to not be fouled. They're not protecting themselves.
Mm.
Right? In football, you're expecting to get hit. Right? In
Yeah.
basketball, you're expecting to get hit and go again hit the floor.
Yeah.
Right? In baseball, you're expecting to have a collision or you're expecting to get hit by the ball. In soccer, you're expecting not to get fouled,
Mm.
um, and it's dangerous. And
Yeah.
so they're gonna call it more than they don't, and it's going to result in things that change the game. But that's part of the game. That it's just I've 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 come a long way on my view on that, I guess.
I got some ways to go, but that all makes sense to me. You talked about umpires calling balls and strikes. You hear that Angel Hernandez, I think that's his name, he quit or something like that, or is retiring.
Yeah, and somebody said though, like if you look at the stats, there's a sort of whatever
A
objective.
mistake rate, yeah, like a mistake rate.
Yeah, mistake rate. He was actually better than 20% of the umps last year. I mean, he's just. I think what his problem is that he seems to make mistakes in big spots, and he also doubles down.
Oh, I think also like when he's bad, he's real bad kind of
Right,
thing.
right, right, right.
Like
Yeah, they're not just. Yeah, yeah.
like it's not like how many mistakes, it's how bad the mistakes are. And I do think there's also a little bit of him where like if the batter like rolls his eyes or something like that, he's gonna he's like, the next ball's a strike. I don't care where it is. He's got a little bit of that. I have a friend, Lee, shout out Lee, who has sent me from time to time some Angel Hernandez highlights. So enjoy yourself a treat and watch those on YouTube, folks. Kirby, good to see you. Anything else to add or plug or say?
No, I'm not very good at this part of the show. I'm just pleased to be back on chatting sports with you. And as things pick up here, hopefully we'll get back to it. I will say, like, boy, this time of year, I mean, it's without an NBA team and without an
Mm-hmm.
NHL team in the playoffs,
Mm-hmm. It's rough.
it's rough. It's rough. Like I put on the Rangers game yesterday just
Mm-hmm.
because there was literally nothing else going on, and I mean, I love hockey and I love it in person, but it's just not that compelling to watch two teams you don't care about.
And I mean, New York. If New York was playing Toronto or something, you could get into that. And they're playing Florida. It's hard, really hard
Yeah,
to get into it.
Florida, which is like a powerhouse. They
Yeah.
throw the rats on the ice.
Right, right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's no, but
It's a
thanks for getting us cranked back up here.
Yep. Adios, Kirby.
Adios, amigo.